All right, everybody. We're going to be taking a quick look at the multimedia lesson design project today. So this is not that big, it's not that big of a deal. We can totally do this, and you do not need to panic. This is going to be something we do over the course of the entire semester. So I've put all of that together in one document for you. Now, this document's not going to have a lot of details. The details will come to you later as we assign each chunk of the lesson. So this one page is really to just give you an overview of what it's all going to kind of look like together. So the first thing that we're going to do, you actually should have already done, which is the topic approval. So if you have sent to me or put in, actually you put it into a Google spreadsheet. If you've already put that in there, you've told me the grade level that you want to use, you've told me the subject, and also what standard you're going to use. Then you are pretty much ready to go. Keep in mind that if it's a standard that's vague, like one of the social studies standards that I pulled out earlier had to do with something about cultures and ancient cultures and blah, blah, blah. And so you would want to specify what exactly you would be teaching about. Would you be teaching about Easter Island? Would you be teaching about I don't know, the ancient Egyptians? Be specific about what exactly it is that you're going to teach about. Just that way we can clarify everything. So the rest of the parts of the assignment that you will be doing over the coming weeks, if you want to look at the document here in front of me, we have a hook or relevance. And if you look right below that chart, you will see down here we've got a little bit of a description about each part of the lesson. And this is just very simple. It just sort of gives you a general idea of what we're going to be doing. So the hook or the relevance, this is where you're just telling me how are you connecting this to something that the students are interested in or something that they've experienced, because we know from research that if we're not connecting content to students' interests and their experiences, then we're going to have a lot less engagement whenever they are actually learning. So that's not good. So in order to increase the engagement and make students really want to learn, we're going to make sure we've got a really solid hook or relevance, way that we are connecting to students. So that's what the next part is going to be about. After that, we will have a part where you're going to create a video, and this does not need to be Academy worthy. This just needs to be an informative video of some kind. It's going to be 5 minutes long, and we'll talk more about that later. But what we are going to be doing with that is having that be sort of kind of a flipped classroom model. We're just going to sort of dabble in that a little bit. But what you'll be doing is giving students the background information that they would need to know. So one of the parts of UDL has to do with making sure that students have all of the background knowledge that they're going to need to have before you take off on learning something else. And so that's what that particular video is going to be about. So it's going to be a 5-minute video that says, hey, we're going to be learning about ancient culture. So here's some things we just want to review real quick. You all remember that BC stands for blah, 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 and AD stands for blah, blah, blah. And so this is what those things are, and that's how this works with timelines and stuff. So you know that you remember that going into our next part that we're going to be learning about ancient cultures, right? So that was an example of what you might want to include in the video. You can make it as simple or as elaborate as you would like. That's up to you. The part that we'll be doing next after that is we're going to be putting things sort of into a mini lesson. It's 15 minutes or less. And the real thing that I want to make sure that we kind of stick to here is that you are representing the content that you're teaching in at least 2 different modalities. So think about it as 2 different ways of input, right? So you are going to maybe teach something where you'll be doing a demonstration. So that would be visual. Students would be able to watch that visually. And then you also may have maybe a card sorting activity or something that they would do after that as part of the lesson. And so that, of course, would be more tactile or even kinesthetic because they're moving things around on a desk, right? So now you've given them a visual representation and you have given them a kinesthetic/tactile representation. So that's you showing them in 2 different ways, 2 different modalities, the content. So that's part of the lesson that you'll be doing. After that, we'll be doing practice. So this will be actually like what we would think of as work, right? We're going to try to stay away from worksheets if we can do that. But we're going to be really practicing the information that we just learned and practice recalling that information. There's some really great research that shows that that's super important as well. So that's going to be that part. And then the final part that we'll be adding to this will be a formative and summative assessment plan. You don't necessarily need to create the actual documents. I might have you create like a small piece. So if it was going to be an exam, wouldn't need to come up with the whole exam. You would just come up with a little part of it so that you could show me you know what you're doing. And that is going to be really it. So it's not huge. The bulk of your points are going to be on the video and the mini lesson. You see, if you look at the points up here at the top, that the 40 points is going to be for the video, 40 points for the mini lesson. But again, they'll have a lot more information on those as we go, okay? So if you have any additional questions just about the overview of the multimedia lesson design project, feel free to shoot me an email. And if you think you're totally good and you're all set, I would just maybe, if you are a printer outer of things and you like to print things out, print this out, put it in a binder if that's what you like to do. If you don't, that's fine. Just save it somewhere so you have it to refer to later. Again, any questions, send me an email, and I look forward to seeing some of you all's work. Thanks.